Hello, everybody. Intuition here. Thank you so much for making some time and space for us. Today, what it is that we want to talk about is who are you? How do you know who you are? Quite the question, quite the existential question that it seems like every human that is in density likes to ask themselves, plague themselves with. And here's the good thing. If you are asking that question, if you are asking any question, then you already inherently have the answer. You cannot ask a question that you do not already have the answer to. I know that sounds very paradoxical, but it truly is very much true. If you didn't have a question, or excuse me, if you didn't already have the answer, then there would be no way to formulate any possible question. So the fact that you're merely asking yourself, or if you have ever asked yourself, well, who the hell am I? Then you are on a fantastic track because you already have the answer. But we would love to tell you what it is that you already know if you haven't already figured it out. Who you are is very simple. You only start getting confused when you allow too many other voices that aren't yours inside of your head, and it's already pretty jammed packed in there. You're already having to deal with your divine love's significant other's voice through her feelings and minutia, even though I know that she does not like it being referred to as feelings, but that's how we identify that divine communication as feelings. So you already have that messaging coming in. You already have your reintegrated aspect of self always trying to communicate with you through different thoughts in thought forms. And you also have different energies blasting at you, left, right, up and down from every side, from the various universal principalities that you are co-creating with at all times. So it is easy to maybe forget your own voice, obviously, but it's easier to forget who it is that you are when you're entertaining a bunch of other voices that aren't yours, which is very easy to do, again, in the illusion that we're in, because you're co-creating with a bunch of other co-creators that are throwing a bunch of things at you that might look like yours, but are inherently not yours. So it is easy to forget who you are in the minutia of all the things that are going on around you and inside of you, but a little bit easier to remember when you don't get so lost in the voices that, again, are not your own. So how you know who you are is as simple as quieting down the other voices that are shouting louder than your own voice. That is one really big indication. The outside noise. If something is screaming at you, telling you who it is that they think you are, then that is a big, fat, red flag. Because nobody and no thing, no societal law or government or religion or spirituality can really tell you who it is that you are. That is more for you to know and for everything, religion, government, law, to find out. So if anybody is telling you that they know you better than you, then go running in the opposite direction, because that is an illusion master and they are trying to con you into something that you don't need to be conned into. Because again, if you're asking yourself who it is that you are, then you already have the answer. All you have to do is sit with yourself long enough to hear what it is that you are. And again, who you are is not sitting and meditating under a tree and waiting for an apple to fall on your head for it to smack you back into sense. It is more the idea that you simply have to sit and wade through the illusion, wade through all that is not you within your head, within your mind, within all of the noises and distractions that exist outside of you and also inside of you. You know your divine love's voice because that comes through not necessarily always as a voice, but more as a feeling that you ever identify with. You know the higher aspect of self's voice because it is more or less always questioning you. Questioning you and what it is that you're doing. Should you be drinking all that alcohol? Really? Another pint of ice cream? Jesus Christ, can you slow down? Why are you driving 100 miles an hour down the road? There's a school here. So those voices are not necessarily yours either. The voice of reason, the voice of worry, though it's, again, not the voice of worry as much as it is your other aspect of self, the aspect of self that you want to reintegrate with, that is questioning you. And it questions you more or less to try and rebalance you and recalibrate you and help you to move back into balance. Usually you hear that voice because you're moving very much out of your own balance. And when you move out of your own balance, that's when all sorts of crazy crap happen to you within your illusion that you are creating, which then sometimes creates an injury. So that questioning voice within your head is still somewhat sort of kind of you, but the more the other aspect of self, the aspect that you need to, not need to, but is important to reintegrate because they hold the memory of all that you are. But also that aspect that you that is important for you to reintegrate is not you per se. That is just an aspect of yourself that is not necessarily in body at this time. So it is important again to know that that aspect that is inherently you but not in body is still not really you. You are you. You, the individual that is answering these voices, are you. And again, that does not, I do not want to give you the idea of psychosis, that there's a million different voices going on in your head, but there are voices going on in your head. The idea of when you wake up in the morning, not all of us, but some of us, when you wake up and you're still a little groggy and you're still, just pulling yourself out of bed, it's quiet in here for some of us. But then there's a rattling going off, and the rattling is bouncing here and there and everywhere. Well, we have to get this done, and then we have to get that done, and we have to do this, and then we have to do that, and beepity boopity boppity boo. And that beepity beepity boppity boo is much of the illusion. That is the illusion talking to you. That is society talking to you. That is the personality filter talking to you. And the personality filter is not you. It is your over-identification with your story, with your own history. And in your over-identification with your own story, with your own history, you create a personality. A personality is bred from, again, your over-identification with your own story, which then creates a bunch of patterns, and in that patterns, that creates a personality filter. And through that personality filter, that runs the illusion. And therefore, it creates a sense of urgency because you have to continue to create the illusion to have a sense that you're going anywhere or doing anything. And you over-identify with the personality filter because you forget that you are a universal principality. And the personality filter takes over for the misremembrance of all that you are, which is the universal principality that you inherently are. So the personality takes over, or is a placeholder for the amnesia of forgetting that you are a universal principality. So even that personality filter is not you, that is rushing you around, saying that you must, you should, what the hell is wrong with you if you do or don't do this. That is also not you. That is your identification with a story that is holding you in a prison, that is also helping to create the illusion. And most of you, if you're looking through the lens of the personality, are not liking the illusion that you're creating, because the personality likes to hold on to things that it does not like. The personality rarely remembers all the good things within the story. It rarely creates a dream-like quality. It creates a nightmarish-like quality, because you're holding on to all the triggers, traumas, hurts of the past, and in holding on to all the triggers, traumas, hurts of the past, you are recreating them in every single present moment, because you are not concentrating on what it is that you actually want to create. You are focused on the story of the past, which is putting you in the history of your past, which is putting you in the past completely, but you can never go back to the past. So therefore, in the present moment, even though time is an illusion, you are creating your past in every single second. Every time you blink your eyes, you are creating a memory of the past in the present for you to have to deal with and move through and de-trigger yourself from, and try and rebalance yourself back into more of a sense of peace. But in doing that, as soon as you move back into a sense of peace, you're triggered right back into the personality lens, which then starts the crazy shit all over again, so to speak. So even the constant noise of the personality filter is not you. In many ways, you have to allow the idea of the personality lens to die in order for you to really hear your true voice. And your true voice will never be rushing you around to do anything. Also, your true voice isn't always questioning you like the other aspect of self that is important for you to reintegrate with. Your true voice is simply not necessarily quiet, but not insistent. It's not demanding. It's not saying that you should do this or shouldn't do that. It's easy breezy cover girl. It goes with the flow. It does not need to rush around to do anything to remember that it is important to prove anything to anyone or anything, because it inherently knows its voice. And its voice is that in balance with the universal principality that it is, and not going out of balance every single second of every single moment, because it's identified with its story, which is then creating a personality, which is then creating an illusion. So to know who you are, you have to stop rushing yourself around and falling into an illusion and thinking that all you are is a personality, because a personality is inherently very small. When all you are is a big, badass universal principality, to sit there and say all I am is just a story is laughable. So when you start remembering all that you are, the first part in remembering all that you are is questioning all that you're not. That's why all of that stuff is kind of there. So that you bump up against it and say, oh, Jesus, well, that sure as shit isn't me. I surely don't like to should myself all the time and say I should be there, I should be here, I need to run to work, I don't need to run to work, I have to pick this up, I have to go to the grocery store. That is not to say that you don't have things to do when you remember that you're a universal principality, but the way that you go about doing it is inherently different than you rushing around being driven by the personality filter. The personality filter inherently takes a lot of work and demands a lot of you, because the personality filter, because you know that the personality filter is not really necessarily you. But in order to keep that aspect of yourself alive, to feel like you identify with something, to feel like you are something at all, it takes a lot of work, because you have to constantly keep on reminding yourself of the past in order to allow yourself to identify with anything at all. And not only are you just remembering the past, but you're creating it in every single second, every single moment that, again, you open and close your eyes. And that takes a lot of energy, more energy than you could possibly even conceive and imagine. But you won't see how much energy that takes of your time and of your presence and of your sanity of mind until you let that personality filter go, until you allow yourself to move back into the universal principality that you are. But again, the personality still serves a purpose. It is still very important, because it allows you to keep on bumping up against all the things that you don't like, all the things that you don't identify with, all the things that you would much rather let go. And it pushes you until you are forced to have to let go. Because nobody, regardless of the universal principality that underlines the personality filter, nobody can continue to sustain the personality filter for too long. At some point, the personality filter breaks. And maybe it breaks, but then repairs itself and comes back, but it still breaks. And that's usually in the form of a depression, or the form of a big mental break, literally. Because again, it takes so much energy, so much concerted effort to keep that momentum going when it is not inherently you to begin with. It is hard to keep something going that is not you. It is hard to work at a job that is sucking the life out of you, literally and figuratively, so to speak. It is hard for you to be in a relationship with somebody that you cannot stand. At some point, you break, and therefore you end up breaking everything around you when you have that break. So the personality filter does at some point break, but it looks like a depression, or it looks like a mental breakdown, or a panic attack, or I literally change everything in my life and it looks crazy to everybody else, but it's a must for me, because I feel like I'm going to go crazy on everything and everyone if I keep on doing things in the same way. But again, that is really just you trying to remind yourself of who it is that you are not. And so again, the personality filter is justified, it is helpful, it is good. It serves a purpose. It is not to say shame on this personality filter, because we'd be doing exactly what the personality filter does to us. But it is also important to remember that you are not that personality filter, just like you are not the feelings that you experience. That is your divine love communicating with you. Just like you are not that voice that is also questioning yourself, not through shoulds, you should or shouldn't do that, but also, interesting, another pint of ice cream. Interesting, you're jumping into another relationship. Is this what we really are looking for to do? Interesting. That is also not your voice, because again, it's an aspect of you, but it is not your voice right now. Your voice, again, is the voice that's answering all these other things. That you're answering the call of the personality filter, the call of what it is that you think a feeling is and then running around with it, the call of your other aspect of self that is not here, that you are that you are asked to reintegrate with, that is questioning some of the decisions that you're making. So when it comes to the question of who you are, again, we'll remind you, thank goodness you're asking the question, because you already have the answer, you already know it. But to remind you of what it is that you already know, all you must do is look at all those voices, all those sounds that are going on and off in your head, in your body, around you in the illusion, and realize what is really running you, because most of the time it is not you. And when you realize that you are not running you, you start remembering who you are enough to start changing the illusion, changing the personality filter, letting that personality filter go, letting that story go, to allow you to really come through, so that you really remember who it is that you are, not by bumping up against something that you are not and hating it, but by you just inviting in and allowing all that you are to flow through you. And as you allow all that you are to flow through you, you see that related in all the things that you see, including in the illusion that you're creating. And your illusion, your reality, as you like to call it, literally starts changing. Because again, when you're living through your personality filter, when you're creating through your personality filter, you are creating everything that you do not like, because you are inherently focusing on everything that you don't like, because you are looking through the lens of the personality, which is as if you are looking through the lens of the past and every childhood trigger, every trauma, every issue that you've ever had to encounter and move through and survive through, you're creating in every single moment. So when you let that go, you allow yourself to actually create from the place in which you inherently are, the universal principality that you are. And you are actually creating from a space of where it is that you are clear on what it is that your needs are, as opposed to creating from an image of the past. And when you create from your actual clarity of needs, then therefore your illusion starts to change, and it actually meets you in a way that you create what it is that you actually, truly, genuinely want to see. So the illusion does not run you like when the personality filter is running you. You run the illusion. When you, again, step back into the universal principality and the knowing and the remembrance of all that you are. And you know who you are. You don't need reminding. If you've asked yourself the question ever in your life, which I am more than sure on some level, in some way, maybe not in those exact words, but I'm sure you've asked yourself, who the hell am I? What the hell am I? Why, in the very least, am I here? And again, if you've asked that question, then you are so close to answering it. And perhaps you're even closer after listening to this, because I'm reminding you of what it is that you already know. But nevertheless, allow yourself to start wading through the nonsense, the minutia, the voices that are all clouding the remembrance of the truth of your true voice, the truth of who it is that you are. So we will quiet our own voice so that you could start wading through all those other voices. As always, we thank you for making some time and space for us, and we wish you easy travels, hearing your own voice and remembering all that you are.